Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. I'm super excited about this week's topic. If you are watching this, chances are you absolutely know the truth about someone in your life, whether it's your partner, a family member, a friend, a coworker, where you've been scratching your head for a while trying to figure this person out, and all of a sudden you realize, okay, I can blatantly see this person for who they are now. So now you're starting to expose the fact that you believe this person to be narcissistic, emotionally unhealthy, toxic, not good for you, etc. But now what happens when you've come to this realization and it's being known in your relationship with this person? So basically, you're starting to hold this person accountable. You're beginning to expose this person for who they actually are because they're not the person that you once thought that they were. What begins to happen with that person? So how are they going to react now that you begin to hold them accountable and call them out on their actions? One of the most important things to understand when you have kind of figured this person out and you're starting to realize this, and you're either possibly leaving a relationship, ending a friendship, holding someone accountable, exposing them on some level, is every narcissist or every toxic person, unhealthy person, is going to react differently to you holding them accountable, to you exposing them. So they're going to use different tactics and approaches in order to deal with what's actually happening now in this relationship, that you know who they actually are. So basically, you have been a very good source of narcissistic supply for this person, and now you're no longer a good source of supply because you are exposing them, you are holding them accountable, you're doing all the things that someone who is narcissistic or suffers from NPD absolutely dreads. They don't want anyone in their life who exposes them for who they really are, holds them accountable for their actions, forces them to take responsibility for themselves. So now that you're kind of switching gears, there's going to be a little bit of backlash that happens. So since a narcissist is actually addicted to narcissistic supply, they need it in order to live because they don't have a good, healthy sense of themselves. They don't know how to stay connected. They constantly need outside validation. They need people around them to not hold them accountable, not tell them that, hey, what you did was a little messed up. Hey, you shouldn't have done that. Hey, I actually also need to think about how I feel and what I need in this relationship, and it can't just be all about you and what you want to do. So because they need supply and they're addicted to it, when you take any addiction away from someone who's unhealthy, there's going to be withdrawals. You can also look at narcissistic supply as control, and that's essentially what it is. I want to control what you think of me. I want to control what others think of me. I want to control how you treat me. I want you to basically do this, this, and this, and then I'll be completely happy. So that's really what supply is a person being able to give the narcissist everything that they want to hear, they want to see, not holding them accountable, sweeping everything under the rug, and not ever really even thinking about what that person needs, because it's all about what I need as the narcissist. So if I can control everything, then I don't have to worry about anyone ever leaving me or abandoning me. And really, that at the core of every narcissist, that's the biggest fear. And that's why they need narcissistic supply. And that's why they need to control how everyone sees them, is because if I can control a situation, then I'm not in a vulnerable state because I'm in control. So not only is the withdrawal happening, and not only is the narcissist probably going to start to get very angry and use different tactics to kind of punish you, what they really want to do is they really want to prove you wrong, especially to the people around you. So this is kind of when, if you were dating someone and the relationship ends, no matter if you got discarded or if you left the relationship yourself, one approach to the withdrawal of supply, which is you figuring them out, is them immediately jumping into another relationship and flaunting it all over everything, social media, friends, family, because they need to convince everyone that you were the problem, that it wasn't them, that they did something wrong, that they just weren't happy in that relationship, and this is the relationship that's going to make them really happy. This is finally the love of their life. They thought it was you, but it's not anymore. Now it's this person. And I see so many people very often get discouraged when they were in a relationship, whether they were discarded or or the narcissist discarded them, and that narcissist immediately jumps into another relationship. And while it is extremely hurtful and painful, you have to understand that none of what is happening has anything to do with you and who you are, meaning there's nothing you could have done differently. You had nothing to do with you nagging too much or being a terrible partner or doing all these wrong things. It has to do with this person. It has to do with the insecurity that they have within themselves and the fact that you're no longer a good source of supply. And what I always tell people is, if you're exposing and you're actually figuring out who this person is, that is like the best gift that you could ever get. And especially if you are no longer a good source of supply and someone leaves you, that's an even better gift, because that means that you weren't willing to put up with any of the BS that person was trying to give you. Now, what begins to happen is once you have kind of figured this person out, one of the key things that always happens is narcissistic rage. And this is where you begin to see pure evil. There's no other way I can describe this other than you are seeing a person that you've never seen before, that you never in a million years would ever have thought was even capable of being this person. Like, talk about the complete opposite of what you first met in the beginning of your relationship. The things that are done in a narcissistic rage can honestly be extremely dangerous. Now, you have to understand, this is just like any other disorder or disease in the sense that because they're going through withdrawals, because they're so angry at you for essentially taking away their favorite toy, which is you and exposing them and showing the world like, hey, I see who this person is and you guys don't see this. Just that whole ability to see this person for who they are, whereas maybe no one else has ever done that before, that will cause this person to go into a severe, serious rage. And this rage is basically just a coping mechanism that they have in order to, on some level, deal with what's happening. Now, what's happening is because you're exposing them, you're basically showing not only them, but also the world that they're not perfect, that they're actually flawed. And that goes against the entire image that this person has tried to portray and the character that they've tried to play for so long. So, of course, they're going to get extremely upset and angry. Now, like I said, what can happen in a narcissistic rage is very different depending on the person, but there are a ton of things that could happen in terms of physical abuse, verbal abuse, violence, bullying, just being very relentless with what it is that they want. They could begin gaslighting you. They can begin spreading rumors about you. This is where the smear campaigns come into play. Or, of course, they could also use the I'm the victim approach, which is, it wasn't I'm the victim, I was in this terrible relationship with this person that just didn't understand me, and these are the reasons why the relationship's ending, or this is what this person actually does, and I'm the poor helpless victim that is never understood by anyone. So it can go either way in terms of this narcissistic rage that they're about to start doing. So now, once the rage has kind of like subsided a little bit, they're going to go back into a little bit of their normal tactics, right? So they're going to go right back into manipulation. This is kind of like that abusive cycle that I talk about like so often. Control, manipulation, and supply are like the three things that every narcissist is going to need and going to use in their games with people, their quote relationships with people. Now, the rage was just basically backlash of them feeling out of control because you now see them differently than what they want you to see. So they're going to go back into manipulation in order to start to hopefully gain control over perhaps what you think of them or perhaps what other people now think of them. So now, in this phase of manipulation, there's a lot of things that can happen. One of the things that often happens is a little bit of cruelty because they still know that on some level, you know who they are, right? So they might try to manipulate you and be the nice person again and try to like win you over, but they're gonna do certain things, just cruel things, to basically get under your skin to expose who you are. So this is when they're going to start picking at you. Because remember, this person knows exactly who you are too. They know exactly where your wounds are. They know where to cut you at your knees. They know what to do to you to get under your skin. And they're going to try every trick in the book. So they're going to provoke you. They're going to say things to you. They're going to want to kind of shove a new supply in their face or show you that you're not important to them either. So they're going to play this childish game now because they want to, like I said, they want to provoke you because they want to get under your skin so you can react. Because by you reacting and you becoming irrational, or you getting entangled in the drama, or you going into a rage yourself over something that they're doing and they're saying, it basically makes them feel better because and this sounds so sick and twisted, but they actually get a high off of you suffering, because on some level it proves to them that they matter, that they exist, that they're there, and they can get under your skin. And I don't even know if it makes them feel better. It just makes them feel important. Like, hey, I matter to this person because I can get under their skin and they can react to me. It's a high. It's just the same thing as, being a great source of narcissistic supply and giving this person admiration and love. And yep, I'm going to sweep that under the rug and whatever you want in the relationship. That is no different than you getting entangled in the drama that they're trying to give you, and you becoming enraged. It's the same high that they're going to get. That's why they always say a narcissist needs attention, no matter if it's negative attention or positive attention. So like I said, they're going to use gaslighting, they're going to use smear campaigns. If you have to now co-parent with someone who's narcissistic and the relationship's ending, or you're going through the divorce, this is when they're going to say, nope, you cannot talk to your child right now because I have them. They're going to withhold financial stuff from you. They're going to withhold information from you. They're not going to tell you things because they want to hurt you. Remember, all narcissistic rage is wanting to hurt you. So everything that is now happening to you, whatever backlash this person's giving you, threats, bullying, even physical, abuse, verbal abuse, being childish, whatever it is that this person is doing, is a result of the fact that they have been exposed and they want to do anything in order to hurt you. Now, if they start with little things, like being vindictive or a bully or saying something to kind of get under your skin, and you never react, they're going to actually keep coming with like bigger guns and bigger guns. So just be prepared. Whatever it is that you're going through, it is extremely difficult dealing with this type of person when they're in this kind of a rage. So once you know who a person is and they've been exposed and you're in the midst of this, you will 100% watch this video and say, yes, that's exactly what happened to me. And the more you kind of stand on your own 2 feet and you're like, I got this, I have that wall up, and everything that you're trying to give me, it's just bouncing right off of me. I hate to say this, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to come back even bigger and bigger until eventually this person learns, okay, I cannot break this person. It's just like any boundaries with any person. If you've always been a certain way for so long and you begin to change, it's going to cause the people in your life to go, okay, I guess I can't get away with that. Because you have to teach people who the new you is, what you are willing to tolerate and what you are not willing to tolerate. And for some people that have very relentless, abusive personalities, it can take a really, really long time. I get tons of messages from people saying, okay, I'm responding, I'm not reacting, and I'm still in the midst of this with this person. Like, they're not learning. And now it's almost like they're starting to beat you down. You have to keep at it, because I'm telling you, at some point, it absolutely will stop. Now, if you are in any kind of relationship with this person and on some level they can sense that the manipulation is starting to work a little bit, here's where hoovering comes into play. So now I've gone from complete devil, evil person, narcissistic rage, doing so many things that are completely abusive and hurtful and vindictive and nasty and all these things, to you basically kind of getting beaten down a little bit, where now you're a little vulnerable and you're like, okay, I guess I was going overboard, or whatever the case is. Here's where the love bombing comes in. Here's where they're going to use fear. Here's where they're going to use guilt. So all of these hoovering tactics are going to come back at you if they sense on some level that you could possibly come back to them. Now, if you haven't left the relationship, if the relationship is still going on and you're just slowly starting to figure a person out, I get a ton of emails from people that say, I am in a relationship with someone who I think has NPD. Like, what do I do? What you're going to end up doing is you're going to start holding this person accountable. You're going to start setting boundaries. And this is where all of this comes into play. So if you never discard the relationship, don't be surprised if at some point they're going to find a new source of supply very, very quickly, because they understand, I'm never going to get away with half of the things that I want to get away with this person. This person no longer thinks I walk on water. And those two things right there are cause for them to jump ship. Now, once they have mentally jumped ship in their mind, a discard is 100% going to happen, but a discard will never happen until they have already found a new source of supply. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to comment down below as well. I am so excited for 2020, and if you are interested in private coaching, I will link all that information down below, as well as my new 9-week course on a ton of things: emotional abuse, healing, narcissistic abuse, learning how to love yourself, learning how to parent yourself, learning how to have peace and contentment in your life, learning how to motivate yourself. So if you are interested in that tall drink of water, I will link all of that information down below as well, and I will see you next week.